Welcome to Figuring It Out, a podcast designed to help entrepreneurs, creatives, leaders, and marketers to master their crafts, grow their businesses, and find a balance between their personal and professional lives. My name is Kevin England. I'm the proud founder and CEO of Amazon, a digital marketing, advertising, and media agency based in Southern California and serving clients worldwide. In each episode, we'll cover a variety of topics while sharing stories from myself and other amazing speakers. Now let's dive in and figure it out together. As I've served clients across the globe, I've come to realize that a successful company starts with its people. Of course, it's no secret that employees serve as the backbone of any strong organization. And as CEOs, entrepreneurs, and business leaders, it is our duty to ensure that we create a work environment where every person feels safe, valued, and appreciated. Only recently are leaders realizing that they have a role in speaking out against inequities rooted in systemic racism and to support other underrepresented groups who are facing their own forms of exclusion, whether it's due to gender, sexual orientation, gender identity and expression, socioeconomic status, disabilities, and even age. My question to you today is, are you an inclusive leader? Do you and your leaders within your organization embrace diversity, equality, and inclusion as a part of your company culture? One of my employees shared with me recently something that really makes everything I do worthwhile. They said it feels great to go to work every morning knowing that I'm entering an environment where I feel like my presence is welcomed, accounted for, and noticed. You see, it's not about an increase in revenue or necessarily the bottom line. It's about people feeling a sense of belonging. In today's episode, I'll be discussing the basics as to how you and other business leaders can achieve a more diverse and inclusive company culture where employees feel heard and acknowledged. Diversity, equality, and inclusion, DEI, well, they're more than just buzzwords. It's a strategy that ensures your employees feel like they are understood for who they are and can live in an environment that provides a sense of physical and psychological safety. So what is DEI and why does it matter? Well, not only is a DEI strategy a socially responsible thing for every company to implement, but it's also an essential step that companies need to take to enhance the success of their overall business. When a company places a high level of importance on employee well-being, inclusion, and belonging, it's a positive brand identity that far exceeds products and services. In fact, a LinkedIn study found that companies with a strong brand identity sell more products and attract 50% more qualified applicants. They also found that businesses fill open positions twice as fast, decrease turnover rates, and dramatically reduce cost per hire rates. Now that does hit the bottom line. As you can see, engaging in a DEI strategy is one of those rare win-win situations where both the employee and the company are positively impacted, helping to harness the company's reputation while cultivating a positive employee experience. A great example of this is PepsiCo. The company sought to address a low job satisfaction rate and a high intention to leave rates amongst women of ethnic and racial minorities. What they realized was there was this huge and major disconnect between managers and employees. So they decided to put a comprehensive talent solution in place, and the results were substantial. Their DEI solution led to turnover rates lowering from, get this, 42% to just 2% in 3 years. PepsiCo also saw a 75% increase in the advancement for women of ethnic and racial minorities, with their representation at the senior level raising from 4% to 6.8% in just 2 short years. Their success not only enriched their work environment, but it also enriched their entire brand, causing PepsiCo to become recognized for their inclusive workplace and winning awards such as the Advancing Woman Award. This success story shows that no matter how large or small your company is, it is never too late for key leaders to start implementing an inclusive and diverse workplace. Even though DEI is known to enhance the livelihoods of employees and the advancement of the company itself, studies have found that only 5% of organizations have a sophisticated DEI program in place. This means that there is still a staggering amount of racial and ethnic minority groups that are not being treated equally within the workplace, and something that we all need to change. So where can business leaders make improvements, and how can you become an inclusive leader? Well, we can start, and you can start, by asking a few quick questions, or answering these questions. Does your company attract talent from unexplored talent pools? Does your organization seek to hire talent from minority or underrepresented groups with the ability to rise to the fulfillment of their potential and into the highest levels of your leadership? And if the answer to those two questions is yes, we do, then ask yourself this next one. Does your company have a strategy to tap into your diverse employee groups to ensure that you're representing as many customers, consumers, and marketplaces as possible? In other words, are you extending the inclusive and diverse nature of your business externally through your products, services, marketing, and even your PR? Recent studies found that diverse and inclusive companies outperform their competition. These organizations are 70% more likely to capture new markets, 75% more likely to see ideas materialize, and 87% more likely to just make better decisions. If done right, DEI strategies can not only boost employee morale, but they can also maximize the efficiency and performance of your entire organization. However, just because businesses diversify doesn't necessarily mean that they'll automatically achieve profitable growth. Diversity can lead to many challenges, such as conflicts due to opposing perspectives, experiences, backgrounds, and different kinds of communication styles. It's important to note that diversity will only lead to better results if it is skillfully managed by an inclusive leader. And even though diverse teams may, in the beginning, slightly underperform homogeneous teams, if nurtured by a willing and acceptable leader, they will far surpass other teams' performance, effectiveness, and creativity. So what does an inclusive leader look like? So here are 5 key traits that you and every inclusive leader should truly strive for. And number 1 is authenticity. It's important to be transparent with your team. Set aside your ego and establish trust in the face of opposing viewpoints, beliefs, and/or values. Have emotional resilience, which is the ability to adapt to stressful situations or a crisis, and to be able to, I would say, roll with the punches and adjust to adversity and difficulties around differences. Be self-assured. Have or show confidence and poise in your leadership abilities while remaining optimistic. Number 4 is inquisitiveness. Remain open to different opinions and practice an empathetic approach to all conflicts. I would say listen first and then respond with empathy. And this is really key. And number 5 is flexibility. Adopt the ability of being able to interpret, compromise, and adjust to a diverse group of individuals, their needs and their requirements. According to Korn Ferry, a global organizational consulting firm, These individual personality traits are essential for inclusive leaders. They also indicate preferences and are the inner enablers that make inclusive leadership possible and tell us the leader's disposition towards differences. While these traits are, fundamental and foundational for inclusive leadership, they are not enough necessarily on their own. An inclusive leader must also possess the skills to lead inclusively, which is why further research has identified competencies and skills that are essential for inclusive leadership. And those are: build interpersonal trust. My father used to say that trust is established by saying what you do and doing what you say. I can remember him saying that. Also, finding common ground while simultaneously valuing differences of opinion is a great way to establish a trust relationship. Integrate diverse perspectives. Try to always consider everyone's point of view and be able to navigate conflicting positions. Another is optimize talent, and this could be challenging. You want to continuously motivate and support your team's growth and potentially augment the team, or even remove team members that don't value a different point of view. Number 4 can be apply an adaptive mindset. Have the mental aptitude to assess a situation and be able to adjust and innovate by leveraging differences. And finally, achieve transformation. Be willing to confront difficult topics by bringing people of all backgrounds together to achieve substantial results. These 5 key leader traits, along with these 5 skill disciplines, will ensure that you become an inclusive leader who will not only have the values, but also be able to implement diversity, equality, and inclusion in your workplace. So in today's ever-changing social climate, leaders need to survive and thrive amongst constant uncertainty and change. It is now more critical than ever to make sure that your DEI strategy is sophisticated and substantial. A company that engages with recent social conversations, rather than shying away from them, establishes themselves as a key leader within their industry, and most importantly, as a company that cares. It seems like the biggest challenge most present-day leaders are concerned with is growth, growth, growth. However, leaders need to differentiate to grow. And in order to differentiate, leaders need to innovate. And in order to innovate, leaders need to diversify. And in order to diversify, leaders need to implement inclusion. So you see, you can't achieve growth without diversification. Your company's DEI success can be centered around something very simple, a general statement that I'm sure that all of us has heard as we've grown up, and I know that I did. And it's treat others the way you would want to be treated. And sometimes it's as simple as that. DEI encourages employers to acknowledge that their company should stand for more than just the products that they generate and the services they provide. It shows them that their operations should focus on standing up for the equal treatment of all people. A great example of a Fortune 500 company that has realized the importance of implementing a strong DEI strategy is General Motors. Over the course of 2020, GM publicly condemned police brutality, bigotry, racism, and discrimination. The company's CEO, Mary Barra, even joined 9 other corporate leaders at Detroit City Hall to declare support for equal rights for every single American, regardless of their racial background. The company also pledged $10 million to organizations fighting for racial justice and inclusion. Their swift action and their ability to stand up and speak for what's right garnered them a lot of admiration. And many of their employees stating that the leadership at General Motors, both locally and company-wide, is very progressive, supportive, and proactive. Benefits are great, and the company is true to their values in every single way. This goes to show that when a company steps up, takes initiative, and ensures that DEI is not only being practiced internally, but also being publicly expressed externally with the current social environment that we all live in, employees take notice, and they appreciate the fact that they themselves can be associated with such a company. But let's not forget, DEI does not necessarily have to be practiced with millions of dollars of donation. Diversity, equality, inclusion can be practiced through educational offerings. For example, Instacart, a company that has gained a lot of traction during the most recent pandemic, practices inclusivity in their company culture by partnering with employee resource groups to publicly celebrate General Heritage Months. And there's a great example of that. The company celebrates Women's History Month, Black History Month, Latin Heritage Month, Pride Month, and so many others. But there's more to that. Each culture heritage month, the experiences, they do this full month worth of programming specifically dedicated to raising awareness for traditionally marginalized groups through educational programs, different guest speakers, social impact projects, and so much more. By recognizing and acknowledging these, different celebrations throughout the year, Instacart creates a work environment where diverse employees feel recognized. As a leader of any company, big or small, it is vital to implement and practice DEI within your workplace culture. Here at Vonazon, employee treatment and employee satisfaction is top of our list. We acknowledge that each employee, every one of our employees, plays a vital role in the delivery of our services and our strategies. We pride ourselves on being a company whose employees and clients come from all sorts of diverse backgrounds. And as the president and CEO of the company, I make sure to implement a nurturing company culture that feels like home away from home for so many of our employees. Our open door policy, our open floor office layout promote transparency and accessibility. Here at Vonazon, we understand that at the end of the day, regardless of our differences, we are all part of the same team. In today's social climate, especially now, as most businesses are conducting their operations over digital means, it is critical that your employees can progress and work together as a team. I guess because as the old saying goes, you're only good as the sum of your parts. It is no longer enough to focus solely on optimizing individual employee performance. You need to focus in as a team. So even if your company doesn't have millions of dollars to publicly donate to various social causes, there are many ways and things that you can do internally to implement DEI within your workplace walls, such as practicing authenticity, emotional resilience, self-assurance, inquisitiveness, and flexibility amongst all employees and not just the leaders. So be a leader and share these ideas with your company and with your team. As we head further into the future of uncertainty, one of the things that I know is for certain, by integrating DEI methodologies into your daily business operations, you can make sure that your business, employees, and your team grow simultaneously. So until next time, my name is Kevin England, and keep figuring it out.